Good evening, welcome to Heart Talk, coming to you from the Heart Knocks Training Center in Malaysia, every Monday at 10 p.m. Tonight we have the great privilege of having Kathy Benson on again. So nice to see you again.
Thank you.
And as you watch this with us, as you stay with us, please, if you have any comments, anything to say, please write in the comments. Any questions, we'll promise to get back to you. So welcome back, Kathy.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Always enjoy our conversations.
Thank you, me too.
So I was wondering tonight, of course we're still talking about the trainings that we are in, and you've been in it for 35 years. So a lot of our training has to do with thinking, the way we think, thoughts, and maybe how we interpret or manage our feelings, how we translate that into some meaning for us. I was wondering, because nowadays it is not so strange to mention it, but how does that translate maybe into physicality? That this mind-body connection that we keep hearing about. In the old days, it used to be new agey, but I think that the sciences have shown that there is a definite connection, a physical, chemical connection in our biochemistry. It's not just a vague connection, but some people have traced a train of causality. So, in all your years, what have you seen about any impact on people's health from all the things we do in the room, which seem to be more of thoughts and emotions?
Well, I think I'm not an expert on the causality or what the chemicals are and all of that, but just seeing what happens for people in the trainings, in transformational work, and also having studied some embodiment work where people have done studies about the causes and effects of things that happen in our body, how memories stay in our bodies, like literally in our cells. I have seen people's posture change when they let go of something from the past. So, and I didn't really think of it at the time as, wow, whatever that event was, which happened long ago, is still even affecting how they hold themselves or how they walk. They now show it forms our musculature. If we've had things happen that are heavy or stressful, it can literally affect our musculature, right? So when you think about how impactful an event that happens, and now we have a memory of it, how it's carrying forward in our actual body. It does make sense, though, if you think about it, like our brain is not separated from our body.
Right.
So it makes sense that they would be sort of interacting back and forth with each other. So something popped into my mind, which is unrelated to the training, but related to what we're talking about, is that my father was killed in an accident, and so he was gone suddenly. And he has a brother who is 4 years younger than him. And their whole lives were like this. Like they were best friends and they worked together, and so everything was them together. And my uncle, having lost his brother, the emotion that came was it was so much, he could not let himself feel it. Like it was overwhelming.
Right.
And within a couple of weeks, he actually had a stroke.
Wow.
So to me, that was so much the mind-body connection of he couldn't let himself feel the feelings. So it like his body reacted in a sense. Okay, so if we think about that, and to me it was just very, they were married, right? It was
right.
like, and so if you think about that, well then all of the events that have happened in our life and all of the emotions that went along with them, which automatically went along with the events, we didn't conjure them up or choose
right,
them.
Yes.
And now they're wired in our system as this event happened, caused this emotion. And because our system is wired to protect us from something painful happening in the future, because to our body, pain equals death. We think if something's very painful, that means we're going to die. Because the body wasn't really created for emotional awareness as much as, survival, stay alive. And so now it's wired into our whole system. Now an event happens, it might even be dissimilar, but similar enough. It cascades all of that same reaction into our, the chemicals that come. And again, I'm not an expert at this, but given my own experience in the trainings and starting with psychology and then in the trainings, seeing what happens with people where when they let go of an emotion that might have happened many, many years ago, suddenly their responses now in the present moment are completely distinct. Whereas before, they couldn't distinguish present events from the past because the emotional bond was so strong, it immediately put them into self-protection. So I think that's one level where I see a really strong mind-body connection. It's like the body takes over, the chemicals in the body take over to where you're reacting versus responding until you can get that, I don't want to call it distance. I was going to say separation, but distance. Yeah. And you realize that what's happening now is not what happened then.
And that's when it resolves.
Yes.
But you got to, okay. That means it happens, it needs to be resolved because what happened was coded.
Yes. And it cannot resolve when we're little because we don't have the capacity.
Right.
I suppose it could, and I don't know this for sure, I suppose it could if somehow we had, let's say, a community of people that knew how to help us resolve it. Yes. They were aware enough, conscious enough, and they had handled enough of their own emotional stuff that they could let us resolve it. So I say I don't know if, because I feel like there were some events that happened to me when I was a child that felt so overwhelming that on some level, if I let myself feel them all, I wouldn't have survived it, right? Yeah. So I don't know if we can handle it in childhood. It may be a thing that can be supported in childhood if we have aware enough people, but somehow has to be resolved in adulthood, and which I actually think is a beautiful thing, that at some point in life we make a choice about whether we're going to resolve it. We have to actually choose that. Yes. I think, of course, my uncle having a stroke would be an illustration of this, that it even affects, like if we're carrying suppressed emotion, if we're carrying events from the past we have not resolved, it can lead to so many things. Cancer, I mean, I think this is being proven now, it's not a theory anymore. Strokes, heart attack, which isn't to say that every disease we get we are to blame for. I think sometimes people jump to that and it's a mistake.
The moment you try and make a connection, then it becomes a condemnation that it's your own fault or your own doing.
Exactly, yes. And I certainly don't think, I mean, I like to say a lot that I try not to have very many beliefs with a capital B.
Right.
Meaning I'm certain about it, because then I feel like I'm not open to different information, right? So I don't know this to be true, but what I intuit to be true is that sometimes in life things just go haywire, and and it could be a number of different circumstances, environmental and emotional and whatever. So I certainly don't want people thinking they're at fault for things. To me, it's more of I can resolve something that can be responsible for my healing, versus I'm to blame for the condition.
For the condition.
Yeah. So I think the mind-body connection is probably way deeper than we even can imagine now. Goes way further than we can imagine now. As we get scientifically more astute, there are things that we see now that we could not even ever have imagined at some other time. So like mirror neurons, right?
Yeah.
Again, not an expert at them. But that my neurons, what I'm feeling or seeing or thinking or whatever, can affect how you're feeling, thinking, or seeing. I mean, that sounds like magic.
It is until they explained it.
Yeah.
I think when I was talking before this podcast about Ramachandran,
Yes.
that neurologist. So he was quoting some researchers in Italy who discovered mirror neurons. So it was fascinating because he says we learn from each other, because when I see somebody doing something, I can put myself in that position because they trace the neurons firing. So if I lift this coffee cup in a particular way, certain neurons need to fire for me to do this. And if I see someone lifting this cup, a subset of those neurons would fire, even though that's the mirror neuron.
Yes.
By watching him lift the cup, my neurons will fire as if I'm lifting the cup. Then he says, and this is brilliant, he says, and when I see someone who is poked with a needle, my neurons fire as if the needle is poking me, but I don't feel the pain. And he says, do you know why? Because when that happens, other neurons go there to check, is it me? And it's not.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I never heard
and
that.
This was the guy who wrote a book about phantom pain. And then if you saw the Dr. House episode about how he cured someone with a pain in an invisible arm, then that's the guy who devised the mirror cure for phantom limb pain.
Wow.
But imagine that we are wired in such a way that we can empathize and we can put ourselves in that position and imagine what pain it would be, knowing that it's not ours.
Yes. Yeah, that's amazing. And what I was thinking of while you were saying that we have mirror neurons that learn things watching someone else do it.
Yes.
So imagine we're learning from our parents, their behaviors, right? It becomes our own behavior before we even execute it.
It's like a recording. That's why children are so good at copying, because they are replaying what they observe.
Yeah, so that's great news when what they're doing is working.
Yes.
And it's not so good
great if it's not working.
When we're patterning what isn't working. Yeah, and I think a lot, like, if somebody had let's say a dad that got angry a lot, right? And they go, I'm never going to be like my dad.
That's what we all say, right?
And then they notice, oh my goodness, I'm just like my dad. So this kind of explains it in more than, because the brain and its chemicals are so powerful that even our own, what we think is our own volition, can be overridden by that chemical.
Or it is so real that we think it's ours when it's just a copy.
Yes. Wow, I love that. Yes, see, this makes me fascinated to do so much research about the brain. Just what's coming out now is so fascinating. And so, we talked about the box. Did we talk about the box in a podcast?
No, we haven't.
Maybe we didn't.
Haven't.
Okay, great. Yeah, we haven't used that terminology. So let's actually talk about that for a second. So in the training, we say you live inside of a box, right? And the box is made up of our limiting beliefs, our assumptions, interpretations, automatic reactions, habits. So we only know what's available based on our box.
Yeah.
We cannot dream outside the box because we don't know it exists. So for example, science is proving things now we could not have dreamed of years ago. And making relationships to things and things we couldn't see. So we're kind of solving problems inside of our box for which the solution does not exist inside. But we don't know it, and we don't know how to find the solution because it isn't here.
Einstein had a statement of that, right?
Yes.
We were just talking about it. I think he said something like, you cannot solve a problem with the same thinking that created that problem. So that would be the box.
So we sometimes I use the analogy just because I think it's very clear, and people have to understand it as a metaphor in one sense, but also in another sense as some of the consequences are the same. So I say it's like we live in a kind of prison.
Okay.
And imagine if you were born in a prison but you didn't know you were born in a prison. I mean, you just know you're born. You're you don't know, you don't have a distinction.
The Truman Show.
Oh, yes. Yes. He was a movie set, right? He was
That's
in
right.
a movie.
He was born in a movie set,
Yes.
thinking that is the world.
Yes. So if you're born in a prison and you get prison food and prison relationships and prison activities and prison clothes, you aren't sitting there going, I dream of freedom. Because you don't know freedom even exists.
Yeah.
And so our box is like that. We adapt. I mean, human beings are intensely adaptable. We adapt to the environment, to the beliefs.
So your idea of freedom would be freedom within a box.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you could only dream of whatever the box could allow. And so obviously if we were actually born in a real prison, that's pretty darn constricting, right? If life could be outside in the whole big world and what we're living in is this small place within it. And the box is like that because, sometimes people will say to me, oh, my relationships are level 10. And I go, how do you know? You only have the scale you have.
Yeah.
If we think that getting along and there's not much discord is a 10,
then that would be a 10.
Then that would be a 10. But what if relationships could be this amazing, intimate, loving, transformational experience? We could name a million things, but what I think it is no discord. Then I'm settling for what I believe or what I can see versus what is possible. And so that is what, that's the box, right? So inside of our box, we also have, like, our body is a box in a sense. It becomes a box, right? We can only allow so much emotional freedom or intensity, right? So I say some people live like, where they don't want really high highs. They don't want really low lows, so therefore there's not also high highs. So all of this affects all of it. And, body, mind, kind of in a circle. And how far it plays out, I think we are still discovering. I had this thought once, and this is a little bit of a crazy thought. Like, I write, and I have a poetic mind at times. So I was writing once, and I suddenly thought, you know what? My grandparents were Jewish, and they grew up in Russia, and there was pogroms where they had to leave,
persecution,
right? Yeah. And I thought, the people that have parents that were Holocaust survivors, that's in their DNA. It is. It's right. So it's kind of a poetic idea, but now I think they're proving those kind of things actually end up in our DNA, right? So, and what I always say to people is, a few generations ago, life was about survival. It could not be about something else. My own grandparents, to feed their family, it was a matter of survival. They weren't looking at reaching their full potential.
Correct.
That could not be an issue because of what was going on.
No space for that.
Yeah. So, and Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes.
So self-actualization comes after a whole bunch of other things have been handled. And so if that's getting passed on, like if I have the fear of my mother in my DNA, what are the implications of that, for example, right? So I think it's much more far-reaching than at least everyday life we're exposed to. But they're just really starting to discover what a relationship there is between all of that. And then can the body free the mind and the mind free the body, etc.?
One part of it that is fascinating is we say modern science is beginning to see this and all that. But if you think about our language, that's a burden of my back. And then the posture changes.
Yes.
So is that metaphorical? Is that...
That's fascinating.
I suppose it could make sense that we carry a burden on our back because physically that's how we carry stuff on our shoulders, right?
Yes.
And you could interpret that in many ways. That means if you experience a burden, it'll be on the shoulders. If you experience something else, it might be another part of the body, right?
Yes, and let's say it was simply language or pairing an experience, like, we would carry something on our back with a feeling. So does our brain then actually create a dysfunction because of the picture and that's fascinating.
Yeah, that means, the experience, the specific experience ends up in a part where we are wired to experience it, or somehow to interpret it.
Yeah, and now here's something that occurs to me as we're talking that is could have far-reaching implications, is that so many things are going on in our mind, not invisible, it's kind of transparent to us. So we're thinking things or pairing things up without consciously being, And so we don't even have access to a different possibility in that moment, because it's kind of automatically, because the brain, to be efficient, if the brain was running everything by us for our voting about it,
you never get this job
nothing
done.
would get done, and you'd be exhausted. I think they say the brain thinking takes 70% of our body's energy. And if you think about everything that goes on in our body, that's amazing that the brain's taking 70%. So to make the brain efficient, you want to sort of neutralize things and make them as automatic as possible.
Shortcut, gloss over, summarize.
Yes. Yeah. And so what are the implications of that, right? And that habit becomes the norm. Then let's go back to our box analogy. Well, then staying in the box is way more efficient. Because when you're getting out of the box, now the brain has to scan and make choices and decide. So it would rather just keep you in that, even if it's a prison. The brain doesn't care if you're in prison. The brain cares if you wake up tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
and the brain doesn't want to do extra work.
Yes. Yeah, it's too taxing.
Our system doesn't need to do extra work because we are already taxed now as it is to survive, right?
Yes. And I think because we make discomfort a kind of stress, we're afraid of failure, we're afraid to look bad, we're afraid to make mistakes or to feel the pain of all that, we even make it more taxing. If we were just, I use the word surrender. It's kind of a very hard word to explain in a couple of sentences, but it's like we stop resisting something or going against something. So if I was just willing to say, okay, I might fail, and if I fail, there might be some ridicule and there might be some pain, and I can open to that versus resist it and push away and put all my energy in that not happening. It would be way less taxing, and then we'd be way more free. It's almost like we're putting a straitjacket on ourselves with all the fears we have or the avoidances we have. So because of the survival context, need to look good, be right, be in control, and avoid pain, which we talked about in another podcast, we are even more taxing ourselves if we're doing something outside of the norm. So it's almost like we're a caterpillar who's meant to be a butterfly, but every day we're just spinning more of a cocoon to keep ourselves in that because we're so afraid of what happens if we come out. And it could be unconsciously afraid. That's the tricky part to me. So much of what goes on unconsciously that we don't even necessarily have a chance to go, you know what, I'm in prison and I feel really constricted by it. So
we don't.
Yeah.
So how does one ever get out of the box then?
Oh, such a good question. So one of the ways we would say that generally you can get out of the box. So part of what the box is, it creates a comfort zone, right? And you stay inside of that comfort zone because the brain likes comfort and safety, homeostasis. So one of the ways to do it is to risk, right? So you can get outside of the box of your automatic behaviors by risking.
You know that word risk is terrible.
It's
Can
terrible.
I substitute another word?
Please do.
Experiment.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, because risk is scary, right?
Yeah.
it's a scary, but see, it became scary inside of survival. But yeah, experiment, yeah. But I think this is why people do things like jump out of planes, which I always say I'm never going to jump out of a perfectly good plane. Don't know why someone would do that, honestly.
Yeah, like, if it's a rotten plane, okay, maybe I have to. But
yeah. But I think people do that for that feeling of aliveness, which comes when you're experimenting. Let's call it experiment. So that's one way. One of the things that creates our box is survival context and our belief system. So one way would be to, like, what are ways that you can have it so that survival context isn't so influential and powerful. And I'm always going to go back to our trainings, not because we're doing a podcast in the training, because that literally is the choice I made out of all possibilities that I've discovered of what reliably has people get out of that running.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, reliably. I always say to people in the trainings, this is guaranteed to work. I mean, it literally is, if you are open and do it as designed.
Right.
Because it's however they did it, they designed it in a way that it's literally sort of unlocking these locks that human beings have when all we're dedicated to is comfort and safety.
Yeah.
So, and again, we've talked in other podcasts about, there's meditation and there's actually even yoga. I believe the discipline of yoga was meant to unlock a mind-body relationship where it was all about constriction and survival.
Right.
But then yoga got turned into exercise.
Yes.
Because anything you put into the survival context will be taken over by the survival context.
And so this reinterpreted.
Yeah. And made to support the survival context. Yeah. So it's very, very tricky. Now the name of the snake we looked up, do we remember?
Urobos.
Urobos. Yes, where it eats its own tail. Yeah. So, I mean, the survival context, literally, it can turn, we had spiritual leaders on earth who said the most beautiful things, and then they got turned into survival context because who was interpreting them? Right? So how to get out of it is there must be some process that isn't in it.
That's outside the box.
Yeah. So and I mean, again, when I came to the training, I was studying psychology, and when I was in the training room and seeing some of the things that were occurring for human beings, I mean, some people were 70 years old, so my psychology brain would go, it's over. They're set in their ways. You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
New tricks, that's right, yeah.
And I was seeing them become ways of being they had never been, couldn't dream of, new beliefs, new dreams. That just, to me, it felt like magic, And
it's magic because you see the countenance change.
Yes.
Yeah.
You literally see, I once saw a woman, without sharing why, because the trainings are very confidential in terms of keeping people's privacy. I once saw a woman's posture, the way she carried herself was just hunched over. And literally in sharing 4 different statements, I literally saw her stand up, like she stood up, her shoulders went back like this, and I swear to you, she looked younger. And that moment, I will never forget it. It's imprinted in my mind because of how beautiful, and it was like slow motion photography when they showed flowers opening.
blooming,
literally looked like that. Yeah. And of course, I've seen many things like that, but that one stands out to me. So it's like everything affects everything. One of my favorite sayings in transformation: how you do one thing is how you do everything. Yeah. And I love that because it gives us an opportunity to see that the box we're in goes with us everywhere. So it
determines everything, right?
Huh?
Yeah, it determines everything.
Yes. So I cannot say to you, with my workers, I'm a jerk, but with my child, I'm intimate and kind. That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
How I am, like whatever my box allows me to be, I take that box everywhere, right? So how you do one thing is how you do everything. allows us to start to see our box, actually.
Yeah.
Because the first step to getting out of your box is know that you're in one and start to see what it is. And by definition, in a way, we cannot see it. But that statement allows you, if you're curious and you look around, it allows you to see it. The other thing it means, how you do one thing is how you do everything, is if you transform something on any level, it's transforming it everywhere. Yeah. So it's both a and a
Yeah. Good news and bad news.
Yeah.
I had a thought. Let me try and get that thought. So the training, in the beginning is really an invitation to experiment, isn't it?
Yes.
That's all it is.
Yes.
That's all it is.
And in a safe environment.
In a safe environment where you're not staking your career or your life on it.
Yes.
And it's how you do one thing is how you do other things. It's because we handle how you do the safe things.
Yes.
And then when you see that, and you automatically have a more powerful impact on the bigger things.
Yes.
In the same way as you have a new impact on the safe things.
Yes.
So it's an invitation to experiment.
Yes. Definitely. I love that, actually, as a way to put it. Invitation to experiment. And also in the first level of our training, it is designed so people can start to see their box, which I think is profound. Yeah. Because we can't see it, there's nothing we can do about it because we don't even know there is a do to do.
Yeah, that's right. But sometimes, we want the instant answer. Tell us what to do.
Yeah.
And then when the training is more like inviting you to experiment, it's not our natural inclination to go along with that.
Yeah. Yes.
So people really have to step. In a way, to get outside the box, you got to step outside the box.
Yes.
It's weird.
Yes.
It's like, where do you begin, right?
Yeah.
It's like the snake. Where does it begin?
Yes. And the environment is designed to support you to step outside the box so that you can, because we can't just go on my own, I'm going to get outside the box. I say to people in the training, how many of you have heard think outside the box, right? Okay, think outside the box. You cannot. You're in it while you're thinking.
Yeah.
It's a stupid saying. I mean, it worked for Apple.
Yeah.
They, and perhaps Steve Jobs did some process literally where he could start to think
to do what he did with Apple.
Yes, in a revolutionary way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been around for a while that I think the psychological model, at least in the old times, was very much you are using our language now. Let's figure out, they're in a box because of what happened in their past. Well, let's figure out how they can live okay in that box. They can live better inside of this box. But eventually I think it started transmuting into there is potential beyond what our past would dictate.
That's right.
And so I believe what I heard is that the people that created these trainings in I think it was the 70s, they were starting to look at, so there's people that reach their potential, right?
Yes.
But it's a very small percentage.
That's right.
How and why are these people reaching their potential?
Others are not. So that was the impetus to say, wouldn't it be great?
Yes. This is accidental, right? It's their fate, it's their upbringing, it's their schooling. It's like what has them end up in this state of reaching potential. What if we created a simulated environment where what accidentally happened to them could purposely happen? And they could have these experiments so they could see if I show up this way, what does that produce in my life?
That's right. Yeah.
And again, in a safe environment, nothing to lose, really. I mean, maybe a little face.
No,
a little.
No, I think it's everything to lose. It's still the survival contact.
Yes.
That what if I'm wrong?
Yes.
That would be the main thing.
Yes.
One big thing.
Yes.
You're forced seniors, right?
Yes.
I must be right. So what if I'm wrong? Why would I pay money to be wrong?
Yeah, yes.
I mean, I'm just.
No, yes.
It's not just facetious, but it really
Yes.
boils down to that.
It is, yes.
I am already here and have some fair amount of success.
Yes.
I'm this old or this age, and I can show my success. Why would I want to look at things differently?
Yes.
And be less than who I am?
Yes. It would be less than who I am.
Yeah, be less than who I am,
Yeah.
because that's what it means, right?
Yeah. Well, in the survival
In the
context,
survival
yes.
context, that's how I would feel.
It's going to prove that
Correct.
all. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my whole world will collapse if I experiment. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I think people who step into training have a lot of courage.
I do too. I once had a Vietnam vet say to me, being in the training and opening myself to what's possible took more courage than it did to be in battle. Yeah. And it was so touching. Yeah. Yeah, it is courageous. I tell them that all the time.
Because our mind doesn't know what the stakes are as long as it's survival.
Yes.
So whether it's in war or elsewhere, it's the same magnitude of impact and same sense of dread.
Yes, yes. Yeah, literally our the primitive part of our brain thinks embarrassment is death.
Yeah.
It literally does. Like, it's not less meaningful.
So the language refers to it. I'd rather die than stand in front of these people and give a speech.
Yes.
Right? So it's literally true.
Yes, literally true. On the primitive
in the same
level.
feeling.
Yeah. So, So then I say to people, I also use an analogy of if you put a frog in boiling water, it jumps out.
Yeah, that one.
But if you put it in lukewarm water and heat it up slowly, it'll die, right?
Yeah.
So for me, sometimes life heats up your pot
fast.
Yeah, so you're like, okay, I'm open now. I'm not as committed to being right. I want to see,
Yeah.
But life doesn't always do that, and so if you're in the lukewarm water and it's just heating up slowly and you think it's all good, it's all cool, then you could be dying in there. You're dying in prison when you could be free.
Yeah.
Freedom probably sounds scary to some people. Actually, I think the word probably sounds scary to some people. When I was studying to be a trainer, there was a paper about how scary freedom is for people. How we will even live life as if we have no choice, because choice is scary.
Frightening because,
the implications, right? What if I'm wrong? What if it doesn't happen? Again, on a survival level.
If I don't choose, I never be wrong. Right?
Exactly. Or if somebody else made me,
then I'm not wrong.
Or if I have to, then I'm not wrong. And
I'm not wrong because I can throw it on the other person.
Yeah. So fascinating, because human beings are the only animal with the potential of freedom.
Yeah.
I heard a spiritual teacher once say, literally, freedom is your birthright, but most of you will not take it.
Yeah.
Most of you will not choose it because of all of what we just said, right?
Yeah.
But it's such a beautiful and profound and precious birthright that, to me, it's like, what is at stake is freedom. And so we kind of have to have the pot get hot so that you can see what you think is at stake. I'm going to be wrong, and therefore I was, something much bigger is actually at stake.
Yeah.
And that it would be worth everything. You would probably pay any price for it if you could see it.
So we realize that only in retrospect. Right?
Yeah. Or if someone comes along, again, this is what I feel like, my cousin told me about the training, right? If someone comes along, it's like in the Matrix, you took the red pill. Well, now you know. So now you want other people to take the red pill.
Yeah.
And so if you trust this person enough to take the pill for, I watched The Matrix once. I should watch it again because I know it's profound.
Yes,
right?
it is.
But because I think it wears off, or you can take the blue one again, right? Something like that. So if you trust this person enough to say, okay, I can take the pill and I can see, it doesn't mean I cannot go back.
That's right.
If I want to.
That's right.
So I think sometimes in life that it's going to take that.
It's going to take that because you can't decide everything in one go.
Yes.
So the red pill is only the beginning.
Yes.
And then follows all the education.
Yes.
How Neo had to learn how to fight kung fu and the
Yeah.
agents and all that
Yeah.
in the story. It's only the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. So can you trust me enough to take the red
One
pill?
step.
Yeah.
One step.
Give yourself the view of freedom.
Yeah.
I once saw a man walk out of prison. So when I think about this prison analogy, I always think of this. There was a man in the U.S. unjustly accused for 25 years.
That's right. Yeah.
And because of DNA now, so he would have died in there in the past.
And in the past, yeah.
And he came out, and they're feeling like the whole air, seeing the blue sky really for the first time. Obviously, they can go in prison yards, but I think sometimes they don't even actually see sky and things like that.
But it's not the same when there are walls.
Of course, right,
Yeah.
right, and you're a cage essentially. And he comes out and he hugs his mother. And a reporter walked up and said, "Are you bitter?" He said, "How could I be bitter? I just hugged my mom for the first time in 25 years."
Yeah.
Right? What a beautiful,
Yeah.
so many people would be bitter, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying be bitter or not bitter. When I think about getting out of prison, getting out of your box, I literally think about that moment where that man walked out. He was unjustly in that prison.
For 25 years.
For 25 years. And we are in a prison that was not of our own choosing. We didn't choose to be in that prison, if you see the box as a prison. And so that getting out feeling, I think it's very similar, actually. And it's kind of like if you could get a glimpse of that moment, that feeling, that interaction with your mom, that's unlike it's ever been before.
Everything changes for you.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how can we have people get that glimpse so they can take the red pill just for the... And I do think it's sometimes the relationship of the person that comes and says,
Trust
this
me,
is,
this
there's
it.
more than you
More
think
than
there
think,
is.
yeah.
And it's worth being wrong to be free.
Yeah.
And whatever freedom would allow in your life that isn't available in the box. Yeah.
Yeah, when I say experiment, I'm just softening the feeling of
fear.
risk, the fear.
Yeah, like risk equals something bad is going to happen. Yeah. No, I love experiment, actually. I think the more neutral it can be so that we're not... it's already fearful for people to change, to get out of the comfort zone, right? So, but again, what's at stake?
Yeah, it's but I think what we dread is it's interesting that we're afraid of freedom, but we hate being told what to do.
Yes.
So it's weird that if you hate being told what to do, and I'm inviting you, you still won't do it. I've almost got to push you into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's contradictory. That's
we have to be an interruption to get somebody. Yes, definitely. Well, I think that not wanting people to tell you what to do is about control, which is
rather than freedom. That's back to the 4 senior.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, because when we're kids, we're told what to do all the time.
Yeah.
And some of our parents are very dominating in their, when they're wanting us to grow up well and all that. And so the human brain and being naturally resists being controlled.
Correct.
That's actually part of the need to be in control, is to avoid others controlling.
Others control,
right?
Yeah.
So we confuse control with freedom, and they're far from each other.
Yes,
in order to be free, you've got to be willing to give up control. And that means that I don't see everything somebody's doing with me as control. I'm not seeing everything as being dominated.
I'm free.
Yes.
Because I'm free.
Yeah, so if I'm free, you could ask me to do something or even tell me to do something. And then from a free space, I'm going to respond.
Either way.
But if I'm in prison and have to be in control, you tell me something to do.
I can predict what your response will be, right?
It's like death.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you're trying to kill me, or you're going to get me somehow. Yeah. Quite fascinating. I feel like the transformational work, it addresses so many fascinating, multi-layered...
I've never been bored.
No.
Since.
Me either.
Never been bored.
And I feel like I would like about 20 more lifetimes.
Yeah.
to really get the depth of all of the ramifications of this and the possibilities. I think one of the things that happens for people in the training, you experiment so that you see possibility.
Yes.
And I think possibility is very, I see people from Wednesday to Sunday of the training, it's like their skin is glowing, like there's light. Because I think possibility has us feel this, it's
alive.
Yeah, when I was a kid going to Disneyland,
it was like,
it's full of possibility, right? But life doesn't feel like Disneyland. Life feels more like I'm the hamster wheel.
Yeah, recycling. Yeah.
But what if life is meant to feel like that kind of possibility all the time, and that we're settling for the hamster wheel, right? To be right and comfortable. Yeah, I say in the training, that would be a tragedy. And I appreciate that it takes courage to look and maybe be wrong about the way I thought it was. And I will say, it was through no fault of the person's own.
No.
It's because our brain is wired for something that isn't what our full potential offers. So we can kind of say, give ourselves a break.
Yeah, the training does feel like let's stop for a moment, pause, as you said, pause, and let's see what's really there.
Yeah, let's get off the hamster wheel.
And then look at it from outside.
See what's possible.
Yeah.
And then if you go,
then go back.
Get back on the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
It's going to still be there.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's going to keep spinning. You just jump in where you left off, or in a, whatever. Yeah, I think that helps the brain too, like the survival.
We almost
fear.
have to trick our brain.
Yeah, to know
Basically
that you can go back
Yeah.
if you want to, but at least see what else is available, right? And it does take courage. So and that could give you kind of a form of self-approval that you were willing to take
to do that.
courageous act. Yeah.
By doing that, you're better than others. How about that? Oh my goodness, our brain does.
Yeah. But I do think at some point there becomes a consciousness where you stop doing that better than,
That's
less
right,
than.
yeah.
Because our brain does one of two things. I'm superior or inferior. Because in the wilderness, we need to know which we are.
Where we are.
Yeah. So that we're, get
can
away
do the
from
right
the
thing.
superior
Yes,
ones.
yeah.
And dominate the inferior ones. But there becomes a pause. And I mean, sometimes I get judgmental, of course, right? And then I'm like, okay, stop.
Yes.
This is not a choice I'm making. This is kind of the
Automatic.
Yeah, and choose something else. Because that judgment is not going to lead to a result that's effective. If what I'm up to is people living without regret, if I'm up to a world that is about love, not fear, those reactions aren't effective, right?
Right.
But until we can see it and catch ourselves, we're just, it's like we're kind of carrying on the survival context of everybody that came before us.
That's right.
And just passing it on to our own children.
Yeah.
And the environment. I mean, look what we're doing to Earth, right?
And the way the world goes, right?
Yeah. We could solve this whole problem today.
Yeah. You need another 10 minutes.
Yeah, just 10 more minutes. No more survival context.
So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for sticking with us until here. And I want to thank Kathy for spending the time together with me. And so after all that's said and done, we're just inviting you to experiment.
Yes.
And
give yourself that gift.
Yeah, discover more possibilities. The red pill is not permanent,
correct,
so to speak, but it can be a new beginning. So thank you for being with us on Heart Talk every Monday, 10 p.m. from the Heart Knocks Training Center in Malaysia. And please leave comments. Please feel free to comment and share your messages in the section below, and we'll get back to you. So once again, thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
And we'll bid you good night.
Good night.
Bye.